Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Breakfast Central. Now going straight to the stories. The Athletics Integrity Unit have handed a 10-month doping ban to Olympic athlete Lilian Kasait Rengeruk from Kenya over the use of a prohibited substance. 25-year-old who finished 12th in the 5,000 meters final at last year's Olympics in Tokyo used the hormone therapy drug Letrozole. Now, the former world under-18 3,000 meter champion had her results revoked from 20th of January this year, the day she provided her positive sample. The former All-Africa Games and national champion suspension will run from April 2022 to February 2023 because she admitted her guilt. Rengeruk is the 8th Kenyan to be banned for a positive doping test since the beginning of July. In response to the trend, the country's athletics body, Athletics Kenya, announced a range of measures earlier this month in the bid to tackle the problem. The new measures also require all coaches handling Kenyan athletes to have the correct work certificates and licenses to operate within the East African country, as well as to instruct the relevant authorities of their contact details. And to basketball now, Mali will have to punch above their weight at the 2022 Women's Basketball World Cup in Australia after replacing African champions Nigeria. The West Africans had failed to reach the global showpiece after losing all their games in a qualifying tournament held in Serbia in February. Now, the 2007 continental champions gained entry to their second World Cup following Nigeria's withdrawal in June. Now, led by Spanish coach Joaquim Brizuela, the Malians will face hosts Australia, Canada, France, Japan, and Serbia in Group B. Only one African side has ever reached the Women's World Cup quarterfinals, with Nigeria doing so last time out in 2018. The 12-nation tournament, where holders USA go for a fourth successive title, runs from September 22 to the 1st of October. All right, Angers' defender Jan Valery has agreed to play for Tunisia despite having the option to represent France. The North African country's Football Federation confirmed this one earlier. The 23-year-old was born near Paris and played for his country of birth at under-17 and under-18 levels, but is eligible to represent the 2004 African Champions nations through his mother. Now, a product of Southampton's academy, Valery has decided to take advantage of FIFA's rules on international eligibility and could now represent Tunisia at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Valery joins Lyon winger Chaim El Jabali, who is 18, as the latest additions to the Tunisia squad ahead of the World Cup finals. And to cricket now, Namibia recorded their third consecutive victory on their Cricket World Cup League 2 tour to Papua New Guinea when they trashed the home side by 167 runs at Port Moresby on Wednesday. Now, following two earlier victories against the United States, Namibia have now strengthened their position on the log. Although they still remain fifth, they have several matches in hand on the leaders and can soon move up. Still on that one now, Namibia has one more match remaining on the Papua New Guinea tour when they take on the home side on Thursday. And as we wrap up, let's talk about the world of basketball, as Boston Celtics might be without their head coach to begin the 2022-2023 NBA season. It was reported late Wednesday night that Ime Udoka is facing positive disciplinary action, including a significant suspension for violating organizational guidelines. It is unclear what team rules Udoka has violated. Now, if Udoka indeed is suspended, the Celtics would have to lean on one of their assistant coaches in the interim. Damon Stoudemire is the likely candidate, with Ben Sullivan, Joe Mazzulla, Aaron Miles, and Tony Dobbins also on Udoka's staff. Now, losing the coach, Ime Udoka, for an extended period of time would be a huge blow to a Boston team that thrived in his debut season as head coach. The Celtics finished the 2021-2022 campaign with a 51-31 record to end the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, then made it to the NBA Finals when they were defeated by the Golden State Warriors in 6 games. Now, the Celtics will begin training camp later this month and begin the preseason on the 2nd of October. The regular season opener is scheduled for the 18th of October versus the Philadelphia 76ers. That's quite a sad one coming from the Celtics coach, Ime Udoka. But of course, as the news keeps updating, We'll surely be here to give you all that up-to-date information. Well, that's a wrap on Sports Updates on Breakfast Central. What do you make of that story, Olive and Osarage, concerning Ime Udoka of the Celtics?
First of all, I'm really glad that it's not our own Udoka Njoku that's being suspended.
Wow.
But I was going to say, I mean, we don't know exactly what rule he violated. Are there possibly any speculations of what this might be?
No, well, a lot actually going on social media. Quite bad speculations, I must say. But of course, the major gist is that for now, his job is safe. He's just going to be suspended for a short while. But there's still conversations about his job. If he eventually become, he'll be fired from that position. But for now, it looks like it's 100% guaranteed that his job is safe. But all over social media, I've been hearing dirty speculations concerning Ime Udoka.
Well, it's also, well, I think we would always take these type of things seriously because, you know, we always love to see Nigerians thrive in these fields, you know, outside the country. And so being a coach, you know, of the Celtics is pretty huge. And so, you know, I also wanted to ask how much, you know, or how much African presence is there currently in the NBA?
He's the first African coach for an NBA side, and that's quite huge. And of course, becomes the first Nigerian who once played in the NBA, becoming a coach as well of the Boston Celtics. A manager who people see as a debutant and also a novice in the game when it comes to coaching. And he did well. He took the Boston Celtics very far in the season last time around in the NBA. So it's quite huge for Ime Udoka. And if with this kind of story we're hearing all over the news, it's quite a sad one. And we just hope that at the end of the day, he will be left as the Boston Celtics coach. But of course, the rules are rules. If the organization says these are the things we don't want you to do, then of course, I think we should stick by the guidelines.
I mean, I really hope that this is sorted out and doesn't negatively impact his career, because we do want to see more Africans in the NBA. But let's quickly touch on the Kenyan story. We know that Kenyan athletes have always done exceptionally well. And unfortunately, this is the 8th person who's been found culpable since July. Now, we also know that in 2016, Kenya was placed on the watch list for the World Anti-Doping Agency. What is it that constantly draws these athletes into using these contraband medication, if I may put it that way? You know, and you know, what is it that constantly urges them to find themselves using these things? And is there anything that is being done? Is there priority being placed on helping them get off these?
You know, I like to play the devil's advocate here. Say, for example, I take a painkiller that contains some banned substance, which I do not know about. And I'm an athlete. I go play a basketball game, and eventually I play like I'm on fire and make all the basket dunks and everything. At the end of the day, you have a doping test carried out on me, and result comes out positive. Of course, I innocently took that painkiller to solve a problem, a headache or something, and at the end of the day, it becomes the fact that there's a banned substance on that or in that painkiller, and it becomes a problem with the AIU, that's the Athletics Integrity Unit. But I'm not saying this is one of the reasons why they took these things. Sometimes these athletes do not know, and sometimes they do take these things for boosters, just for them to perform better on the track and field events. But of course, you know at the end of the day, if you get tested, if you get caught, there's going to be a suspension, and eventually could lead to a ban. You can even be banned for life from playing that sports you love to play. So why do you go ahead to take these things? And yes, Kenya has been under the watch list. There's also, one time it was Russia who had that problem with the WADA. Now we had Nigeria's Blessing Okagbare as well. And just recently, one of the team members of the 4x100 team that went to represent Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games. And now we have Kenya also suffering this. I think these athletes should learn better, and they should know better.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much. Of course, we hope that this is not more than just a suspension, and she's able to come back, bounce back, really strong. Thanks for sharing these stories with us. We look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much.